The B-52 bombers have impressive capabilities, but as we will see, there is no such thing as an unbeatable system. 50 years ago, the U.S. lost 6 bombers in one night that were shot down. It was during Operation Linebacker 2 in Vietnam. Except for the cataclysm of the World Wars, the Vietnam War, direct U.S. involvement 1965-1972, represented the greatest military disaster in American history. Totally losing popular support as well as the American media, the U.S. Army was engaged in a war of attrition in which it lost approximately 60,000 men. Washington perceived the Vietnam War as the Korean War. The mistake was that if there were a conventional war in Korea, the conflict in Vietnam would be dominated by guerrilla warfare. American technology and weapons provided to the South Vietnamese forces did not count against the peasant army of the Communist North. After the American withdrawal through the Honorable Peace, sought by President Richard Nixon and Henry Kissinger, then Secretary of State, North Vietnamese Communist troops and South Communist guerrillas conquered South Vietnam. In the first phase of the conflict, the U.S. military aviation managed to stop the conquest of the South and bombed the industry of North Vietnam. The effects were not the desired ones, especially due to the fact that North Vietnam received help from the USSR and China. But despite this first-stage success and the fact that American military aviation literally razed communist military bases, weapons and equipment depots, the determination of the North Vietnamese and guerrillas did not weaken. As public support in America for the war collapsed, it became clear that the Army no longer wanted to continue fighting either. The day the U.S. lost 6 B-52 bombers during Operation Linebacker 2. Re-elected with a promise to end the war in search of an honorable peace, Richard Nixon found himself at the end of 1972 in a difficult situation where the North Vietnamese Communists rose from the negotiating table. In this sense, Nixon and Kissinger gave the green light to Operation Linebacker 2, the massive bombing of North Vietnam with the aim of forcing Hanoi back to the negotiating table. During Operation Linebacker 2, which lasted 12 days in December 1972, more than 200 American B-52 bombers flew 730 missions and dropped more than 20,000 tons of bombs on North Vietnam. The Americans, however, had losses that today seem inconceivable. 15 B-52 bombers were shot down, 6 of them in one day. The bombings took place at night. The Americans carried out air missions from military bases in Thailand and Guam. The cited source recalls that despite the fact that the B-52s were state-of-the-art bombers, American generals were fighting using World War II tactics. Vietnam was undoubtedly a cold shower and a lesson for the most powerful army in the world. Currently, in American memory, the disaster of the Vietnam War is surpassed only by the American Civil War. Thanks for watching.